Citizenship to Descendants of Enslaved People. The U.S. singer Sierra is among the first. Tyrone Bowman, live. According to the Seattle Times, let's talk about this story coming from Dakar, Senegal, as reported by the Associated Press. I'll be sure to give the Associated Press credit as well. U.S. singer Sierra is one of the first public figures to become a citizen of Benin under a recent law by the small West African country granting citizenship to descendants of enslaved people. The Grammy-winning performer's acquisition of citizenship at a ceremony Saturday in the city of Cotonou is part of a broader initiative by Benin to attract the Black diaspora, acknowledge the country's role in the transatlantic slave trade, and promote tourism focused on slavery-related sites of remembrance. You know, many times I've told you that African kings were complicit in the slave trade as well. Now, I don't cut anybody slack. Our descendants, our ancestors, they could have never been taken to the Isle of the Americas without the negotiated prices that the kings, the contracts, the agreements, the covenants that they entered into with the slave traders. And I'm just as fierce against them as I am against slavery, period. And I'm not going to cut them any slack as well. Quote, by legally recognizing these children of Africa, Benin is healing a historical wound. It is an act of justice, but also one of belonging and hope, end quote. Justice Minister Yvonne, I'm going to try to pronounce this name, Yvonne Detectinu, said at the ceremony. Here's what to know about Benin's efforts to welcome descendants of enslaved people. In September, Benin passed a law granting citizenship to those who can trace their lineage to the slave trade. It is open to anyone above 18 who doesn't already hold other African citizenship and can provide proof that an ancestor was deported via the slave trade from anywhere in sub-Saharan Africa, because authorities accept DNA tests, authenticated testimonies, and family records. Last week, the government launched My Afro Origins, the digital platform that processes applications. While Benin is not the first country to grant citizenship to descendants of enslaved people, its citizenship law carries added significance in part because of the role it played in the transatlantic slave trade. So let's get this straight. So now they want to acknowledge that they were complicit in the slave trade of our ancestors because of greed, trinkets, and gadgets, and things of that nature. European merchants deported an estimated 1.5 million enslaved people from the Bight of Benin, a region that includes present-day Benin, Togo, and parts of Nigeria, to the Americas. That's a lot of people. 1.5 million of my ancestors, of our ancestors, from the sub-Saharan part of Africa. They were complicit with the slave traders in selling their own people into slavery. Do you really think that I'm going to get on the case of the white slave traders and don't get on the case of the black slave traders? Are you serious? There's no favoritism here. Wrong is wrong, right is right. That's the bottom line. The African kings should have never done that with their people. Benin's kings, see, this is the next line. Benin's kings actively participated in capturing and selling enslaved people to Portuguese, French, and British merchants. The former kingdoms and the communities they raided still exist today as tribal networks. So the kings participated with the Portuguese, French, and British merchants to sell their own people into slavery. And do you think offering citizenship and those who can prove that they can trace their ancestry back to slavery is going to solve the problem? People are raising hell over here in America about reparations. Well, it should be the same outcry coming from Africa. They need to pay reparations to the descendants of those who were enslaved. I'm going to say it again. There needs to be a major outcry against Africa. They need to pay reparations to the descendants of those that were enslaved into the slave trade because of the complicitness of the kings, African kings. Makes no kind of sense. In the 1990s, it hosted an international conference to examine how and where enslaved people were sold. In 1999, then President Matthew Kariku apologized to African Americans during a visit to a church in Baltimore. Well, why is it that his apology was accepted, but when the descendants of white slave owners apologize, everybody gets all up in arms? Why? Why the differentiation here? An outcry should be an outcry. Alongside this national reckoning, memorial tourism around the legacy of the enslaved trade has become a key approach to Benin's government to attract Afro-descendants. Memorial sites, mostly in Quetta, one of Africa's most active slave trading ports in the 18th and 19th centuries. I'll be damned. They include the slave route, which was the path marking enslaved people's journey to ships, and the door of no return, a haunting doorway that opens to the Atlantic Ocean where they left Africa and their families for the last time. So then why are my people always angry with the white slave traders and their descendants, and you're not pissed off with the black African kings and their descendants who are reaping the reward and the money from what their ancestors did? There shouldn't be any difference here. No, I'm not going to go along with it. I'm reading this article, but I'm pissed at the same time because right is right and wrong is wrong. Sinead Chikiti, the head of Benin state-run tourism agency, said the sites give Afro-descendants an opportunity to learn about and honor the struggles and resilience of their ancestors. Dude, I've been learning about my ancestors since I was a child and studying. And I didn't learn it in public schools either. I learned it at my library, reading insidiously, constantly, night and day, day and night. That's why my teachers used to get pissed off with me because they just wanted to talk about the civil rights movement. I wrote about other topics and things. Learn about your own history. This is for everybody who comes to this channel. Learn about your own history. Don't wait for somebody to tell you. Learn it on your own. It may inspire some people to say, I want to return to Africa and choose Benin to understand this history, Chikiti said. Following her citizenship ceremony, Sierra toured the historic city where she walked the slave route to the door of no return. Between emotion, reflection, and heritage, I experienced a profound return to what truly matters, she said, quote, close quote. One reason why they're quick to grant her citizenship is because she's a celebrity, wealthy, fame. What about the everyday descendants here in America from the descendants who were enslaved? Are they going to get the same treatment? Or do they have to go through hurdles and loops to get their recognition that they deserve. One thing you'll find here on this channel, ladies and gentlemen, every story that I deal with, whether I agree with the story or not, everybody will be treated the same way, with the same passion, the same vigor, the same honesty. Let me tell you something, I'll fight for any group of people if they're right. I'll fight for them to have the right to be able to fight whether I agree or disagree with them. I'll stand toe-to-toe with them if they're right on the issues that they're talking about. And here in America, we all got to learn to get together and solve these problems before there is no America after a while. People are running around just doing all kind of stupid stuff day and night and day. Don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I live in the hood. And I see the foolishness that goes on night and day. While the world is spinning out of control, people just doing dumb stuff all the time. Sierra is best known for chart-stopping hits like Goodies and Level Up, her dynamic choreography, and her work in fashion and philanthropy. So this is some powerful stuff here. Let me go to the comment section. You mean why is Farrakhan still banned? Instead of saying what is, you mean why, right? Yeah, I agree with that statement. Yeah, he shouldn't be banned. He should be able to speak freely like anybody else. Because they have all types of people over there on that saying all kinds of things, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're not banned. That's a good question. That's a darn good question. Well, these are some things that I come across, and we have to talk about them. They're hard, they're complex, but they got to be dealt with. I love my people, but my people do a lot of dumb stuff to themselves, and they're destroying themselves night and day. When we can be just as prosperous as any other group of people on the face of this earth. All we have to do is use what we have and make it work. We use it to our advantage. Learn the skill and the art of negotiation. Take our gifts, talents, and abilities. Pull them together. And we wouldn't have to ask anybody for anything because we're too gifted, too talented, too knowledgeable, too inventive to be begging anybody for anything. One reason that I'm on the road as a law student to become a lawyer is to fight for my people, to help them do the things that they need to do. Because if you don't know how the system works, you can't make the system work for you. If I were an inventor, I would learn everything about past inventors and how and why they invented the things that they did. And I would study them rather. And then I'd get on with inventing. All right, y'all, got to go and get ready for the next segment. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all of your comments. Thank you for all of those who have subscribed to Tyrone Bowman Live. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing to Tyrone Bowman Live. We're on the road to getting 2,000 subscribers. I think we're 60 subscribers away. Till next time, never surrender.